like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, told him I'ma hit it out the stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans. Told them this was always in the plans. I just did it cause they said I can. Blowing euros when I'm down in France. Labels asking how I build a brand. Told them put a check up in my hands. Boy got time, no cap. Made a few checks, but they all in the raps. Had a few friends, but they suck in the past. I don't even trip when I'm thinking about that. Hopped in the whip and we all in black. Shawty wanna ride till I hop in the back. 0 to 100, seen a rev on the dash. They ain't catching up, dog, I'm moving too fast. I'm in the big leagues. Told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in a big league.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of Color Commentary on TDPHINSTALK. My favorite and probably the best Miami Dolphins content available on the web. Second to none, TDPHINSTALK. Like and subscribe to the channel, everybody. And I'd encourage you to head over to my channel as well, Color Commentary, to subscribe. Watch a couple of the videos I've stuck out there so far. Not very much, but I'm getting it going on. Very busy these days. And I thank everybody for being in the chat tonight. Glad you can make it. We got a lot to talk about, of course. I'm going to be opening up the panel in shortly. I know everybody's going to be fired up. There's a few things I wanted to talk about, run through some news. Welcome a few people in the chat. How you doing, Andres? Yeah, I know. It's looking like there's a crack in the door. Got Ronnie in the chat. Welcome. Lakers all day. How you doing? Thanks for the shout out. Did I hear somebody say T Rich was in the chat? Welcome, T Rich. How you been? Got Ra. How you doing, Ra? Samuel Rosa. Kahari. How you doing? Peace, brother. How you doing? Everybody welcome Kahari. Great individual right there. Greg Fontaine, the lovely Miss Fins, as always. Everybody head over to her channel and give her a subscribe, too. She does excellent work. As far as I can tell, the timestamp looks like she put out the content first on the big news. Joe, how you doing, Joe? Let's go, Watson number 4. I wonder who that might be. Seems to know me, and he's a moderator. Could that be the one and only... Well, we're going to say either Pete or Tua's trash, maybe. Tua's backup. Which one? Von Joe, how you doing, man? Yeah, you missed the beginning of the show, Von Joe. King Mill, how you doing tonight? I'll give it another little show. Yeah, that's the latest footage of the infamous door, ladies and gentlemen. Seems the wall was built a little taller, finally. They finished off a little top of the wall. Looks good for our offensive line. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking that. How you doing, Brandon? Roadrunner. So, I just wanted, before we get into it, I wanted to do just mention a couple pieces of news. Obviously, the big news of the day. Everybody's aware of it. It looks like the grand jury in Texas has decided not to indict Deshaun Watson. That is official. That means that there will be no criminal charges brought forth on Deshaun Watson on this particular issue. Obviously, anybody, that may have skeletons in their lives beyond that knows that, there's always potential for anything. But regarding this case, there will be no criminal charges filed. I without getting in too much detail, what the prosecutor said, suffice it to say, the evidence was not clear enough, and there was a couple of people that they didn't think they'd be able to get to show up and testify. So that's ultimately why that happened. We all know Watson spent 3 hours in a deposition, according to the report I got from our friends over at Miami Sports Fanatics in the middle of the afternoon. He spent 3 hours in deposition and pled the Fifth Amendment for all 3 hours, which was expected. So barring that he wasn't going to admit to anything, that kind of shut the door, pun intended, on any idea that there was evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. So looks like the prosecutor agreed, and the grand jury agreed, and just have decided not to indict Deshaun Watson. Upon leaving the courtroom, Deshaun Watson did face the media, and they did answer some questions. And according to SI.com, they transcribed a little bit of what he said. And his first comments in months after a grand jury decided he would not be facing criminal charges. Deshaun Watson goes on to say, quote, "This is definitely a very emotional moment for me. I know we're far from being done of handling what we need to handle on the legal side, but today is definitely a big day, and I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for letting the truth be heard," the Texans quarterback said. He goes on to say, "And I thank everyone that was a part of seeing this and hearing both sides. And that's what my point and my team wanted to do, is have a fair slate of us telling our side of the story and letting the conclusion come down to what happened today. And that's what the grand jury decided on." So we all know what that means. That means barring any league suspension currently or exemption list designation or anything like that, there should be no reason that trade talks couldn't open back up between any teams that are interested with Deshaun Watson and any teams that Watson may be interested in playing for, which we know at this point has only been confirmed as one. And that team is our beloved Miami Dolphins. So that being said, I'll go ahead and move on to another story real quick, just because we're going to talk about that extensively in a few. We all know that. So I want to get through a couple. I had a show planned tonight to do a deep dive sort of in an article that I've been citing on many debates. And I wanted to make sure, because, everybody says, yeah, we'll go read what you suggest, but nobody ever really does, let's be honest. And I want to make sure we all know, at least that we're all fair in knowing where that, that on the particular issue of the RPO, that the things I say about it, while I'm not a football expert as far as scheming and all that, I did play football physically, and I've been watching it for the better part of 35 to 40 years of my life. And I take my information from people that do know more than me. That's one thing I am able to determine, that a person does know more than me. Now, they could be wrong. Some other people could be wrong. Opinions are opinions. We all know that. But I wanted to kind of, I'm obviously not going to go do as deep a dive as I was originally planning into the article, but I did want to point out some of the pertinent things that it does say about the rise and fall, we'll say, of the RPO in the NFL. But one other story I wanted to mention was it looks like the Steelers are working towards solidifying at least their backup room. We don't really know what Mike Tomlin sees for his eye test, but the Steelers will reportedly place, according to SI also, the Steelers will reportedly place an original round tender on restricted free agent quarterback Dwayne Haskins, according to PFF's Doug Kyed. That means Haskins will make $2.54 million with Pittsburgh next season if he doesn't sign with a team during restricted free agency, or if he doesn't sign with a team during restricted free agency. If Haskins does sign elsewhere, the Steelers will get a first-round pick back in return. A first-round pick. So, this kind of it's kind of an example, I should say, of a guy that was drafted first round that wasn't, kind of busted out, but yet still holds some value. And so teams all over, I'm sure Pittsburgh's fans, when they brought Haskins in, were like, yep, why? Good, man, I guess backup, whatever. But, You know, there's so many things about wheeling and dealing in the NFL that casual fans don't take, and even myself, I don't dig that deep into the weeds all the time. But there's things that we all don't take into consideration when it comes to the business and marketing aspect of not just the team, the franchise, but also the way we construct our rosters in the NFL, who we give chances to, who we don't, why we keep guys around, why we don't. There's so many different variables involved. I mean, it could come down to Mike Tomlin like the size of Haskins' foot. And so when his defenses are trying to read the feet of the quarterback in practice, maybe it's easier for them. I mean, it literally could be something that petty when you talk about why a team totes around certain players. So sometimes we've got to keep that into perspective when we start dreaming up these moves that we'll make or won't make or whatever, or the realities of certain situations. But we've been saying it for a while, mainly Chris over at the Fins Tailgate. Shout out to them as well. You all know Mike on the mic from Monday nights, right? Or Tuesdays. Gosh, I've lost the days since I started busting my rear every day for the last 2 months. But either case, you can find him right here on Fins Tailgate. It's Monday night on TD FINSTALK. It's Monday night he's here. Tuesday night he's over at the Fins Tailgate at 10 o'clock with an open mic session. But Chris El Capitan has been saying it. I've been trying to kind of locate back in the archives and find some of the receipts on it. But he, he's been mentioning the whole time that it really doesn't matter what anybody outside of the room feels about Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, it really matters what Greer and Ross think, and possibly the head coach. But the point he's trying to make is that when we look at it from a marketing aspect and in a business aspect, it's clear that for the people that really despise Tua, it was inevitable that we were going to have to run through what we're running through, even if that takes us all the way through next year with him as our quarterback. But we also have to remember that for the people that love Tua and would never want to see him ever leave the building, those on the other side of the spectrum, they also have to realize that some of the things we're told about Tua from the front office, they're not just telling us as fans, they're telling the whole league. They're saying Tua is our guy. Tua is our QB1. Not only is our QB1, but he's a QB1. This is the Miami Dolphins. And despite everybody making fun of us like they do and probably snickers at us, some teams out there say to themselves, well, if Miami is really willing to roll with Tua Tagovailoa, maybe there is some value there. And so all of what we hear, all of what we're seeing, even the building of our team to accentuate Tua's gifts, to try to get some kind of, what everybody likes to say, unlock him. Okay, we're still getting to the point where that's all still going to serve to increase his trade value. Given that Tua wouldn't be satisfied with playing second fiddle to anybody. I mean, obviously nobody goes to the NFL who's had a taste of starting quarterback. He's not going to fall to a backup, at least in his own mind, after one shot. So we can put that right out, even despite what we may think about his skill set. But this has been every bit as much about showing the league, not just the Miami Dolphins fan base, and pleasing the people that love him and trying to convince the people that hate him. It's all more about, if we have to go all the way, we're doing what we need to do that, regardless of whether it succeeds or not. But at the same time, everything we're hearing positive is nothing less than I would expect them to say to make sure the rest of the league knows, because as I keep saying, and I've said it on this show a few times, the entire league is divided on Tua. This is not just in the Miami Dolphins fan base. I am almost 100% sure that Tua is on that fine line where half the teams in the league still don't, because everybody, you got to realize all these other teams and fan bases, and they just see things from afar. They see the highlights, they see the lowlights, but everybody has lowlights. So when they see the highlights, they're like, oh, my team can work with that. Who do we got? We got Davis Mills. We could take Tua over here. You know, we got Sam Darnold. I mean, we could take, because I will say this, to have him in the building for another fan base at this point, we may be all so divided in Miami that it's a lost cause as far as, you know, repairing our fan base with Tua. You know, as Miss Finns like to always point out, you know, there was never this kind of vitriol in our fan base before, you know, Tua was our quarterback. And that's a fair point. But, I mean, I don't know. I still think he would be way more exciting to watch on Sunday for, let's say, your average Carolina Panthers fan. You know, I mean, I can't imagine having to sit there and watch Sam Darnold every weekend. You know, so there's teams out there still, you know, and if a guy like me is still like, I don't say the jury's out. Like, I mean, I'm like the 12th juror, you know, that's kicking and screaming, going, no, and we're a hung jury. You know, we're like on the thread of on the cusp of being a hung jury. Kicking and screaming, going, no, and we're Kahari, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hold on, let me turn this down. Oh Lord, hold on. Where's my mute button?
TD sped me up a little bit, but wait, no, you pull it back out. Alrighty, so that being said, I don't want to, you know, we can get into all that during the panel as far as the Tua talk goes and the Watson talk and all that. But I did want to just do a really quick, more of a shallow dive about this article that I've had queued up for a couple months now. The article is titled the decline and fall, or the decline of the NFL's read option offense. So the read and this article is also from SI, and it was published on September 6, 2017. So this was right at the you could kind of say right as the gold rush was in its height with the RPO. Maybe kind of for those of us who understand it, it's kind of more on its tail end downside at this point in 2017. So it goes on to say that the read option offense has a complicated, this is the subtitle, has a complicated history in the NFL. 5 years ago, with the influx of quarterbacks like Robert Griffin III, Cam Newton, and Colin Kaepernick, it was the offense of the future. Now it's an afterthought. Why did it fall out of favor? And so I'm going to try to read through a little bit of the article, spend about 15 minutes on this, get through as much as I can. Maybe I'll do a sequel or a continuation when there's not so much more fun things to talk about. But I did want to put this out there because I promised, I've been, you know, kind of pumping it. And our friend Raw in the chat, how you doing, FM? Good to see you, man. And I see El Caps in the chat too. Everybody shout out to the Finns tailgate. They just dropped some gear for the Finns tailgate. Want to catch us at 10 o'clock tonight? Catch El Cap. It's his deal tonight. You'll probably find me over there, as well as Mike on the mic and many others. Yeah, they just dropped some gear, and it's looking pretty decent, you know, so that's cool. Shout out to Miami Sports Fanatics show and Gio in particular for firing up a nice stream for us to have a discussion about the deposition earlier this afternoon. Appreciate that. But our friend Ra in the chat has been just talking, triple option. How you doing, Trouble P? You can hang with me if TD keeps you up here on this RPO thing, because I know you oh, maybe not. So either case, Ra keeps pointing out that the triple option is coming, and it's it's going to take us but the league by storm, the wishbone, as they called it earlier. And I thought it was kind of funny because my first thought was, new? I mean, new? Like, I was playing in the wishbone triple option, even out of a pro set in high school. I mean, new? Oh, by the way, shout out to my alma mater. I am a Trojan. Always will be a Trojan. Always was a Trojan. So anyway, and I just, I thought it was funny. So I wanted to I was going to do a deep dive in the article, but obviously the news dropped. So let me get into as much of it as I can really quick, read some of this article, because I think there's some tidbits that actually pertain, that can kind of roundabout pertain to the Miami Dolphins. And that's kind of another reason I'm bringing it to everybody's attention in this manner. So it says the idea in the minds of the Titans coaches was to build on the zone read option concepts that helped make quarterback Vince Young a star at Texas University. After all, if Tennessee was going to move the ball while also getting its young field general the game reps he needed, it would need to be creative. Making Young into a reliable drop back passer would be a long work in progress. Young's people had other ideas. Vince's agent refused to let us use it because of the injury factor, says Norm Chow, the Titans offensive coordinator for Young's first 2 NFL seasons. When Jeff Fisher came to me, I said, "Coach, you got to be kidding me." I was flabbergasted. We had no chance unless we utilized his skill. For decades, conventional wisdom was that the option would never work in pro football. And then, starting with Young in 2006, peaking a half decade later, option offenses not only worked, but also thrived, highlighting the dynamic gifts of quarterbacks who had become household names at the college level. Tim Tebow, Robert Griffin III, Cam Newton, and yes, Colin Kaepernick. It seemed an offense for the 21st century had arrived. In the wake of the request from Young's camp, the Titans curtailed his role as a runner, but their implementation of the zone read proved the high point of Young's professional career. Chow was right to insulate him schematically. Young wasn't ready to run a traditional pro-style offense then or ever. He lasted only 6 NFL seasons, making 22 starts. At least 2 has got him beat there. In his final 4 years after making 29, including 1 in the playoffs over his first 2. As the stories of Young and others over the past decade illustrate, the options place in the NFL has always been complicated by the flexibility of modern defenses and the importance and economics of the quarterback position. Collegiate stars like Tommy Frazier and Scott Frost, national title winning QBs at Nebraska in the 1990s, never got a shot in the NFL, shut out due to the doubts about the option's viability in the pros. But one thing that has always worked in the option's favor is simple math. Making the quarterback part of a run play turns what had been a 10-on-11 into an 11-on-11 game. This is one of the points of contention that I usually receive when I talk about the failures of the RPO when I'm debating it. So the article continues. Among the NFL's issues with running the wishbone that Darrell Royal pioneered at Texas, or the triple option Nebraska mastered under Tom Osborne, the quarterback took snaps from under center. The problem at the pro level, says longtime NFL coach Mike Shanahan, is that the defensive linemen are so strong and sturdy, you could never run the option a yard removed from the line of scrimmage. The solution came from college coaches such as Chip Kelly, Urban Meyer, and Rich Rodriguez, who in the late 1990s and early 2000s began running the zone read out of the shotgun and spread sets. Still, even though that tweak helped give quarterbacks more room to operate, NFL teams were reluctant to risk the health of often the most important and most well-compensated player on the roster. That's why the Wildcat came first. It was a way of implementing creative defense-stressing concepts without putting the franchise in harm's way. The Miami Dolphins version grabbed headlines when running backs Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams carved up the Patriots for 211 rushing yards in Week 3 of 2008. We all remember that game, don't we? Oh, it was so sweet. Oh, it was so sweet. For you youngins out there that weren't fans or weren't alive before 2008, do yourselves the favor and try to find some footage on it. Oh, what a work of art. Gotta love Ronnie Brown, Ricky Williams. Shout out to both of them. Ricky especially. Y'all can catch his latest long-form interview on, I believe it was, God, I don't want to shout out the wrong show, but you can find it out there. So really great sit-down interview with Ricky Williams. So let me continue. But the truth is, they weren't the first to do it. The Panthers had the Memphis and Tiger formations behind D'Angelo Williams, who'd run it at Memphis, and Jonathan Stewart, an option back for Kelly at Oregon. And the Browns had the flash for former Kent State quarterback and run specialist Josh Cribbs. Those packages helped pave the way for the read option. Now listen to these names, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Cribbs, Pat White. I mean, Josh Cribbs. That's who we're talking about here. You know, but I digress. The Wildcat worked for a minute. Bears coach John Fox says, when you started getting more athletic quarterbacks, you could just implement it full time. The line blocked the same. The extra blocker blocked the same. And then teams were running the Wildcat with their quarterback. Meanwhile, the college football pipeline was bursting with passers from spread offenses. Unlike the smallish option QBs of the past, these prospects had pro-style size and arm strength. Alex Smith was the top pick in 2005. Young went number 3 in 2006, and Tebow was the 25th choice in 2010. And in 2011, there was an explosion. 5 quarterbacks from spread offenses with option elements: Cam Newton, Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Andy Dalton, and Colin Kaepernick. They all went in the first 36 picks of the draft. A year later, Washington took Robert Griffin III second overall. It was a trickle-up effect. As the scheme began to yield top quarterbacks prospects, NFL offenses began borrowing more heavily from the college game. Tebow's first start in 2011 came in Week 5 at Miami. Lest we forget. And it took 3.5 quarters for concerns about his readiness to arise. The Broncos trailed 15-0, and Tebow was 4 of 14 for 40 yards. Broncos PR chief Patrick Smith texted the team's new football czar, John Elway, quote, FYI, we have the second longest scoring streak in NFL history entering today, unquote, as a reminder to Elway where they were entering that game. Little did they know a furious comeback that day would end in an 18-15 Denver win. Launched hashtag Tebow Mania and turned Fox's staff room into a think tank. The Broncos got blown out the next week by the Lions, but who the hell cares, right? But the week after that in Oakland, a few big first half option plays led to more in the second half. Denver wound up with 299 yards rushing. Then a week later went for 244 at Kansas City. The offensive staff scrambled for ideas to keep this momentum going. Line coach Dave Magazoo says, I remember him bringing his Boston College playbook. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me start over. Line coach Dave Magazoo, I remember him bringing his Boston College playbook, says Adam Gase, now the Dolphins head coach and then Denver's quarterback coach. Reminder, the article was published in 2017. And he goes on to say, Adam goes on to say, I started watching tons of West Virginia, Navy, Air Force, Air Force, not Army. And he says, I'm watching triple option. I'm watching this old stuff. Old is the opposite of new, So, as he said, I'm watching this triple option. I'm watching this old stuff. I call Tebow's coach at Florida, Urban Meyer, at one point and say, give me Tim's 3 favorite passes. What would you call in a critical situation? And he gave me those plays. We got in this mode where we'd try anything. End quote from Adam Gase. It didn't last. Detroit's successful strategy that October, putting an 8th man in the box to cover Tebow as a runner and using softer off coverage to exploit his inaccuracy and elongated delivery as a passer, was copied by New England, Buffalo, and KC. Striking. New England. Could this be the prototype to the amoeba defense, as we like to call it now? So it was copied by New England, Buffalo, and Kansas City in December, leading to a season-ending 3-game losing streak. The Broncos still backed into the AFC West title. For the playoff opener against Pittsburgh, they had a plan, later scrapped, to have Brady Quinn replace Tebow in the 3rd and long situations. Wow. That's interesting. We literally had a separate game plan for 3rd down, says Quinn. The problem, as Quinn recalls, was that while the option caused conflicts for defenses in the run game, Tebow's shortcomings as a passer prevented them from beating opponents through the air. As a result, Quinn says, we were awful on 3rd down. Sounds familiar. The other issue, Denver's defense needed to be great. The Broncos could not allow an opponent to jump out to a lead and force them to pass. We were like Navy, says Gase. If we got behind, we were in trouble. Denver beat Pittsburgh on a wild card weekend with Tebow throwing for 316 yards thanks to a plethora of big plays. He was 10 for 21 that game. A week later, he went 9 for 26, 136 yards in Foxborough in a 45-10 loss to the Patriots. A larger point, that sounds a lot like Kyler Murray's trajectory. Wow, almost exactly. A larger point was made in the process. There was only so far the option alone could take a team. It could buy a quarterback time to develop as a passer, but eventually he needed to do that. Tebow didn't. The Broncos signed Peyton Manning before the 2012 season, and Tebow never started another game as a quarterback. During the 11 season, the Panthers were also drawing up a blueprint for Cam Newton, the number 1 pick. Carolina used the option in their rookies' off-the-charts athleticism in the run game to force defenses to play straightforward, simplified coverages, making life easier for offensive coordinator Chudzinski and his quarterback. And Newton could cash those checks with his arm in a way that Tebow couldn't. You utilize his ability and talent that way, Chudzinski says of Newton, and in the process also transition him. It really was a combination of how special we thought he was then, and then what we can do offensively to give him time to adjust and to get him to develop as a passer in a traditional pro-style system. The other thing that didn't hurt was Newton's 6'5", 260-pound frame allowed him to take a pounding that many other quarterbacks couldn't endure. Through an agent instructing a coach, I thought it was a typo. It wasn't. Though an agent instructing a coach about play calling certainly qualifies as a faux pas in the NFL, Young's people did have a point. The biggest problem with the option is that teams can't afford to have their trigger man taking extra hits. That's why Kelly's rules for his quarterbacks went like this: touchdown, first down, get down. In other words, if you can score, go. If you can get to the sticks, go. Otherwise, hit the deck. Chargers coach Anthony Lynn held Buffalo. I want to repeat that. And I think when he says Kelly, he's moving back to Chip Kelly in that quote. Says that's why Kelly's rules for his quarterbacks went like this: touchdown, first down, get down. In other words, if you can score, go. If you can get to the sticks, go. I'm assuming that's second down. Otherwise, third down, hit the deck. Hit the deck. Quit. I mean, I don't blame them. They obviously don't want to get hurt, but I digress. Again, Chargers coach Anthony Lynn held Buffalo's offensive coordinator job for most of 2016. His guidelines for Tyrod Taylor, who rushed for more yards, 1148, than any NFL quarterback over the last 2 seasons, were even simpler. Get down, get all you can, and get down, he says with a smile. During his Comet Across the Sky rookie season in 2012, Robert Griffin III tweaked his right knee in Week 14 and sat out the following Sunday's game in Cleveland. Kirk Cousins stepped in and threw for 329 yards. What struck Griffin's family that game was how the formerly named Redskins coach relied on Cousins' arm rather than his legs. Like Young's agents, Griffin's relatives envisioned him as a drop-back passer. And so seeing Cousins line up under center and throw, even though he ran many of the same plays Griffin did, just dressed up differently, prompted a call to ownership, who ordered coaches to stop risking Griffin in the run game. Griffin blew out his knee and needed surgery on his ACL and LCL 3 weeks later. Shanahan was fired 1 season after that. What happened in between illustrates how the development of these quarterbacks was complicated by their early success. Rehabbing Griffin became the toast of D.C. His return expected to ring in a new era of Washington football. There was nothing the team's staff, who knew how far Griffin had to go, could do to contain the hype, but his circumstances were changing. Defenses were catching up in the game of cat and mouse. For instance, some started sending the unblocked defender crashing down to the line to take out the back, with a linebacker scraping outside behind him assigned to the quarterback. Others chose simply to knock the quarterback, who is not protected by roughing the passer rules when running the option, into Tuesday, whether he kept the ball or not. And because of his knee injury, Griffin wouldn't be able to run it as much the same way he had in 2012, which put him in the position of having to be what he and his family desired him to be, a more traditional quarterback. I'm not going to continue about Griffin, and it goes on to say much of the same things about Colin Kaepernick, which I'd like to continue at a later date. I mean, this article is just, and it just goes on to point out so many other things. I highly suggest everybody search for it and continue the read. I will be getting back to it because I'm done having the argument. I am absolutely finished wasting the calories on arguing whether the RPO can succeed in the NFL without a quarterback that can take a beating and that can deliver the football down the field. It's just all there is to it. I mean, and to consider a Mike McDaniel zone blocking run scheme much different. I mean, it's run centric instead of pass centric. That's going to protect Tua, but that's its purpose. Make no mistake, our purpose is not implementing the zone blocking scheme run game to win a Super Bowl. It's to protect our investment. The investment we continue to try to protect. And the reason we're doing this is because we didn't know until today. We really didn't know what a timeline was on a better quarterback. Now we do. You know, if they're and it's still a positive. I mean, look, and I've said it since all this is played out with the coaches, with the Flores firing and all that. I've said it from the beginning. Even if Watson has to do some time, TD actually called this many moons ago. But the guy is a star, so he's going to be a star no matter what he has to go through or how much he has to sit. In the meantime, we could create a good situation for ourselves if Tua takes that and decides to try to prove me wrong. We're building a team around him because that team has to be built anyway. That work has to be done anyway. And we've never argued that. But if you think that when Deshaun Watson clears everything up, if he's in the building or still available, that even if Tua brings us to a Super Bowl and loses it, that we wouldn't do the same thing the Rams did and drop Deshaun Watson right in there the next year to complete the task, just like Matt Stafford did. If you guys think that we wouldn't be willing to do that, or that Greer wouldn't be willing to do that, then you've mistaken Greer's acumen as a general manager and his personality. I'm not, and I don't think we'll be getting, I'm not referring to middle of the season, Lucas. I'm saying, like TD's always said and hammered, get him in the building. Just get him in the building. We're obviously ready to roll with Tua. So as it comes down to we're building what we need to help Tua be successful. Tua's training. I do see results, out on the training field. I've given him credit for that. It's on his plate. It's all right out there on Tua's plate for him to gobble right up. It's all up to him. If he proves me wrong, lovely. Do I think he's gonna? No. But that's just an opinion. And I don't hate for it. I'm not a hater for it. None of us are. How could you hate these colors? I mean, look at them. How's it going, Trouble P? I'm ready to bring everybody on now. Yeah, absolutely. So I've said my piece tonight about the RPO and the option.
What's up, Culler?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing tonight?
What's
we got
up,
Trouble P, which is actually Kahari, if he doesn't mind me
that's cool. You're
doxing him like that. And Lakers all day, Cedric Bryant and Shake Money. How you doing, guys?
What's up?
Shake Money, Wagwan Star.
So Trouble's been
Good on this
all
end.
night through my monologue. So we'll let him go first. How you doing, Trouble? What do you got to say?
Well, yeah, I did pull up the article. You're right, and it's a great one. It's an excellent article which explains the potential futility, right, of sticking with the system. But there's one quote in particular I'd like to highlight, and I think you read it. But it's a Shanahan quote, and in it he says, "What we didn't know was how long it would take him to learn the drop back passing game because he had never done it." But he then goes on to say, "We knew it'd take time, just like it always does, and a lot of it has to do with how a person wants to study it and wants to be involved with it." Now, why I think this quote is so important is because it highlights the whispers we've heard about Tua, legitimate or not, right or not. We've heard that Tua has a hard time adapting the playbook.
Excellent point. So to his credit, though, to his credit, Kahari, do you think that Tua doesn't want anything to do with the RPO anymore? Do you think it's actually that he wants to actually be learning a pro set, and nobody's just really giving him a chance?
Whether he wants,
like, in other words, he doesn't want to pigeonhole himself with the RPO either. You know what I mean? As a professional.
But Flores may have been the guy who said, "Listen, I don't trust this guy in a pro style setup," because remember those reports that came out early on in training camp where he was throwing interception after interception after interception for the 3 straight opening practices that weren't even open to the public at that point. But the reporters were saying he was having all this trouble completing passes. He was getting intercepted left and right.
Well, I guess, not to interrupt you, but I guess that goes to what TD's previous points have been, is that's why they should have jumped him right in on the pro set offense and let him sink or swim, let him get through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I almost think that Tua, there's a certain amount of Tua not wanting to pigeonhole himself in the RPO as a professional.
Probably,
you know, like I want to make the mistakes and learn. I want to, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And maybe Flores just wasn't giving him that opportunity or didn't believe in that opportunity.
Absolutely,
it could be a fair statement.
Absolutely, but then Flores is a first-year coach and puts a premium on winning, right?
Sure.
And so if you're not going to help me win, I can't afford to take these losses, right?
Sure.
So, you got to weigh that as well.
And we could put that on the fault of somebody who called for winning now, which is upstairs.
There it is. Boom. And therein lies the chaos.
Bottom line.
And you don't know who's in charge. This is what probably frustrated Flores. May have confused him first.
Yep. But, so Lakers all day. How your Lakers doing tonight, man? They playing yet? No, they usually go late out on the West Coast, huh?
No. We playing the Wizards. I think 9:30. But I'm watching the Miami Hurricanes playing against the Duke. Against Duke.
Oh, basketball! Shout out to the Canes.
It's 90. It's 65-69. We need a big man.
Hold on.
Lakers. Y'all ain't playing the Wizards, man. Y'all losing to the Wizards.
Oh, we playing right now?
No, you're not playing.
Oh,
you're losing.
Oh, you never know, man.
I just had to help the cause.
I'm just picking out you, man. Come on, you know the Lakers.
I know, man. But we just gotta, for my Lakers, man, we gotta fire the coach, man, and trade Russell Westbrook.
We got a clean house, and
everyone. How we doing today?
Pretty good, MC. How you doing? Welcome, MC, to the panel. So Lakers, you got anything to say about Watson or anything going on right now?
Yes, I have a lot to say about Watson. We need to go get him.
Go ahead, Lakers.
We need to go get him, man. I've been preaching this for a long time, bro. Like, we can't be out here playing around with these mediocre quarterbacks, man. We need to go get an elite quarterback like Deshaun Watson. And once we get him, the free agencies, like the free agent players, they're gonna see that we have this elite quarterback, and then they're gonna want to come to Miami because of the weather, because of Deshaun Watson, and then you know what I'm saying.
And then, hey, that's what I'm saying. And if there's any delay in Watson playing, this is precisely why we're doing what we're doing with Tua, because now Tua would have an opportunity to actually, where, like I said, where it's all out in front of him, and we could be, if the Tua ears are all right and I'm wrong and I'm eating crow, then that means we've got a good problem on our hands. I'll get to that in a second. Go ahead, MC. I saw you jumped in. The panel window jumped you in right in front of Shedrick, but it looks like you got something quick to say. Go ahead.
I'll be quick. So Duke is playing the U right now, and it's 3 minutes left in the second half. 69 65. Duke is winning by 4 points. So it's a very close game in this college basketball. I'm pulling always the U, so I'm going there, and the game's back on right now. I'm just letting everyone only down, but we're only down by 2 buckets.
Yo, it's a good game too, yo.
All right. So Shedrick, what you got anything to add or say even about the RPO, whatever I've talked about tonight?
Yeah, I kind of whenever you said what you said, well, maybe Tua doesn't like the RPO system, it kind of like had me remembering watching some games, and it's like, okay, Tua got tired of just making a scripted play. He tried to create his own, but he does it every game. Like every throw that's heir apparent, or it's like, oh dang, why did he try to hit Waddle instead of hitting this dig that's right in front of him? It's like,
well, I did notice that against I want to say it was the Giants. I have to get back and look.
It was either the Giants. I know it was the Giants game. He tried it, and then
he had started down the line on the traditional waggle for the RPO. They were setting up the wide receiver screen on the outside, or a running back in the flat, like Gaskin in the flat or something, or a tight end. And he actually cocked his arm back to throw it to that guy, and literally threw, while facing the sideline, a dart this way over to Waddle, streaking across the middle for a nice play.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself for a second, I'm like, wow, was that a scripted fake, or did he actually decide to do that?
I think because Flores, I mean, he come from the Belichick tree, and every coach that came from under Belichick had their own way of doing things. Like, you're going to win by the team. There's not going to be a star or this and that. We're going to play team ball. We're going to win that way.
Right.
Even if we have to put you in the box.
Now, my problem with Tua has always been, first of all, do what you can do.
Right.
Do what control what you can control. You know what I mean? When you can control it. And also, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, do it every other play. Like, I want the mentality of doing it every play with the results of it happening every other play.
Got you. And
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I get you.
That's the Tom Brady mentality.
Right.
That's the Aaron Rodgers mentality. And I'd venture to say if I asked Brady this, he probably would agree with. He would probably confirm it.
Yeah.
That when he approaches a play, every single one, every time he goes up under center or stands in the shotgun, he treats that play as if it's the last one he's going to have in his career.
Yeah.
Because he knows it very well could be because of injuries and all that. So what you end up is you get a guy who thinks he's going to do that amazing play I just talked about with Tua.
Mm-hmm.
I want that every play, but I want him to aspire to that every play and achieve it every other play.
See, here's my issue.
We do that, we got a star quarterback.
Yeah. Here's my issue with Tua. Like, right now, you don't have the physical abilities that these other elite quarterbacks have. That's all fine and well. Be the best game manager you can possibly be. Because even when Tom Brady started his career, he was carried by the defense. Everybody in the NFL knew, okay, if you can score on the Patriots, you can beat them. But nobody could score on the Patriots. So you couldn't beat them.
Yep.
Be the best game manager you can be. And sometimes, and I kind of put the onus on the coaches as well. They didn't teach him well enough how to best prepare to beat defenses. They just put him in a script. And it's like,
you know what else? You don't necessarily have to have the star quarterback performance.
No,
but you have to have a quarterback that has that ability.
Right.
And that quarterback has
because you're going to need to rely on it once or twice or 5 times throughout the season.
And that coach's confidence comes by showing it in practice.
Exactly.
And nobody's arguing that a star quarterback doesn't need all those pieces as well to win the big game. We're never arguing that. A star quarterback, the difference is a star quarterback doesn't need all those pieces to win a regular Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna. How you doing, Miss Finns? Welcome to the panel, man. I just saw you jump on. You too, Crypto, and Jerry J Man, as always.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Greer already has an out on this one. He said, I may have closed the door because I was uninformed on the status of the situation with Watson. But guess what? All doors have hinges.
Yeah.
I
mean, crypto, we keep saying it every which way from Sunday, but as you can see here, okay. Well, real quick, and I want to perfectly illustrate this, because as you can see here, on the left, you have a closed door. On the right, you have an open door.
How did that happen?
Those are both doors, ladies and gentlemen. They're both doors. Look at that.
But it took force to open the door.
Greer and by the way, I want to point out,
forceful here.
Every door, but the common denominator, both of those doors have a hinge.
Right. Which means they both can be opened and closed and opened again and closed again and opened again, unless somebody puts the type of lock on it that takes a little while to open.
There's
not even that kind of lock on it. He didn't even mention any kind of lock like that. So what I'm saying is, first, I also wanted to point out real quick before I get a Shake's opinion real quick, because I'm just moving around the cycle for everybody's first thought. Miss Fins and crypto. I'll get to you guys in just a second. But what I'm looking at here is the door on the left has our current offensive line. The door on the right has our future offensive line.
Yeah,
flanking the door.
It's a pretty big wall there.
That being said, go ahead, Sheik Money. Did you have something to say? You were next in line.
Yeah, man. I catch your shows every morning. I get up I go to bed around 10 o'clock, and I wake up usually about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I usually listen to your shows there. And I caught the replay last night, and it was a real good stream. I liked about how you said Flores took Kaepernick to school, and I agree, because he actually took a job that was lesser than he anticipated.
He did what he needed to do. He's still inside the system to help change it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, my opinion,
which is what Stephen A. always preaches.
Yeah, the thing I hate about what they always said about Flores is he didn't believe in Tua. He always wanted Watson. But what people don't fail to say is that Watson initiated the trade to come to Miami. He named Miami out of his mouth. He chased Miami. Miami didn't chase him. So what do you think Brian Flores is going to do when a generational talent wants to be on his team? Say no?
Well, not only that, Shake, but what people are confusing or misconstruing as Flores telling Tua that he'd never be or that Watson is better than him or whatever and all that, that was misconstrued. And what I think actually happened, my opinion, is that he was actually being honest with Tua and telling him what the guys upstairs were doing behind his back.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said that mid-season.
So Jerry J, man, I'm sorry, Shake. Oh, by the way, Shake, I appreciate that shout out, man. I'm gonna keep that in mind when I do my shows on from now on too. I'm gonna make sure I give you a shout out for your morning coffee, man.
I appreciate it.
So it at least seems a little live for you. You know what I mean?
I figured, but I just want one more thing on the subject. As I believe if Deshaun Watson did not put his name in the Miami ring, he would have went with Tua. So all this Flores hated Tua is bullcrap.
Oh, I agree, because Flores would have worked with what he's got because he believes in himself, just like McDaniel. If they drop Watson in, McDaniel will work with him. If they don't, McDaniel will work with Tua because McDaniel believes in himself.
And it's a shame that narrative still survives today.
I know. It really is. It really is.
It's
troubling, Trouble P. It's troubling.
Stuff has nothing to do with the coaches. I hate when people bring that up.
Agreed.
That's front office.
All right. So how about you, Jerry J, man? You've been kind of quiet over there in the corner.
No, I always got to let everybody, say their grace. But how you guys doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm all right.
How you doing?
I'm over here watching the Canes with you guys. I'm a big Canes fan. I'm from North Miami, so it's all about the U.
Man, we need a big man, bro.
Is that now the 786 or is it still the 305 up where you're at?
Oh no, it's still where I was at. It was the 305 because I was about 5 minutes away from Northwestern High.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was in that. I didn't go to Northwestern High, but I was real close to it.
So 786 is more of your newer
786 is
communities out
after
west
you-
area of Miami.
South 786 is after you get on the little the highway, because you know how the highway splits and man, I can't remember the roads.
Well, it's not
Once you
geographic.
start, what happened?
It's not geographic. It was about the growth of the city, and as the city grew west, people in the western areas.
Yeah.
786.
So when the
like
highway
west of the
splits-
gardens, like
Oh my god.
We need a three.
But I'm gonna make this quick though.
Sure.
Just what I wanted to say, because I know Miss Fins probably is waiting. But of course I like your article because it's a lot of what I've been saying.
and by the way, just so everybody's aware, I want to make sure because I kind of get the feeling twice now that I'm I might not have credited it good enough. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I got the right information here. That article was written by Albert Breer, September 6th, 2017.
Oh, Albert Breer, yeah.
I just posted it in the chat, Color.
Real quick. Go ahead, Jerry. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, the article, I definitely agree with it. One thing I wanted to say was just a few things. Watson is cleared, of course. I do expect Miami to go after him because Chris Grier, you cannot let two generational quarterbacks slip out of your hands. I mean, the Joe Burrow thing, we understand.
You would think, right?
Joe Burrow thing, we understand. Justin Herbert, you passed on the 6'6" guy that runs a 4.6 or 4.7, and you picked the 6 foot guy that came off of a career-ending injury. I mean, come on, a blind man could have made a better choice than that. But now you have Deshaun Watson standing in front of you, and he's been cleared, so you have to make the right choice. So
do you think maybe Tua was the pyrite that they were feeding to the fans, because like TD's always contended that they were building this team originally to begin with for Deshaun Watson?
The thing is, I really don't understand why. I always think that it was what TD said. They went into that draft unprepared. I'm still going off of that, but we really don't know what happened that night.
Right.
But what I wanted to say was that I always thought that the reason why Flores never allowed Tua to do the pro offense is because let's look at this. Let's just look at the timeline. If the rumors are true that they paid Flores to lose, and Flores knew that, hey, I have a target on my back. Flores is not trying to lose after that.
Right.
He is doing everything. He is not trying to take the bumps and bruises and, Tua has a really bad season and then they fire me. No, he was trying to prove year in and year out, I'm going to create an offense that will cater specifically for Tua, and I'm going to do all that I can to win, which is why I also think he yelled at Tua during the Titans game, because he knew if I make the playoffs and they fire me on Black Monday, you cannot say, well, he went on a 7-game losing streak. That making the playoffs completely wipes that away, in my opinion. People might not agree, but in my opinion,
yeah, you're right. He's still our coach if we fall into the playoffs.
If he makes the playoffs and you go into Black Monday, you fire him, then Brian Flores has, well, guys, I made the playoffs. That wasn't good enough for them, et cetera, et cetera. But what I do want to say to end my statement is, for the people that, are still on the Tua train, I understand and I respect that. I was a Tua near a few years ago. I kind of fell off because of, the Tua fans, they're a crazy bunch. And two, I didn't see it's the eye test. We're from Florida, so we watch football. Football is a religion down here, just like it is in Texas, and California. But like, it's the eye test. I just didn't see, okay, this guy is going to be the guy that makes the difference, because
exactly, Jerry J. We've been picking teams our whole lives in the backyard, man.
Listen,
I want that guy. I want that guy. You know what I mean?
TD said yesterday perfectly what I've been saying for months. What advantage does Tua give us? People always say, oh, Tua's this, Tua's that. He's going to improve. Okay. When we're going against the Buffalo Bills that has the number one defense, when we're going against Joe Burrow, who showed us in the Super Bowl, he can score a touchdown with Jamar Chase in under 2 minutes. When we're going against Justin Herbert, who now has an all-pro defense supporting him, what is the difference that
And
we
don't forget the bum Josh Allen, who delivered 201 yards to one receiver and 4 touchdowns.
Don't forget Patrick Mahomes that scored 2 touchdowns in under 2 minutes. So what is the advantage that Tua puts over those? I understand it's a team sport. We have to do this, that, and the third. But look at the 49ers. Shanahan knew I have Garoppolo, but Garoppolo does not give me the advantage because I have one of the best offenses, one of the best defenses, but the common denominator when I lose is Jimmy G.
Not making a play.
Well said. Well said.
When you
That's why they move heaven and earth to go up to get Trey Lance. By the way, everybody, you can catch. You can go head over to your favorite ebook or Audible book site, audio book site. I'm sorry, and you can find the new book from called "I Was a Two in Ear" by written by Jerry J. Man. So. How you doing, Ms. Fins, tonight? I want to hear what you got to say about this whole thing. I know you've been chomping at the bit, so we're going to let you go here in a second. We're going to let you go for a second. You got the floor. Sorry, Jerry. Did you have one more thing to say, Jerry?
Yeah, just one more. One quick second.
Sure.
If people are so ecstatic about McDaniel's offense with Tua, imagine what Mike McDaniel can do with a quarterback that can move and throw like Deshaun. The Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, they would be praying every single game. Man, the Chiefs wouldn't know what to do with us. The Chargers wouldn't know what to do with us. Brian Flores versus the Steelers wouldn't know what to do with us. We'd be the biggest, baddest team in the AFC.
And with McDaniel's personality, he's just the type that could let Tua down slow, isn't he?
In a loaded AFC,
How
we
perfect.
need Deshaun more than ever. More than ever.
Yeah, you got to go get him now.
So go ahead, Miss Fins. The floor is all yours. Thank you. Everybody, make sure you like and subscribe to TDPHINSTALK. Head over to my channel, Color Commentary. Subscribe there too. Give me some thoughts on what you want to see me pump out, and also make sure you hit Miss Fins up too on her channel. She is breaking out some good stuff lately. She's on top of it. She's waiting for the stuff, and she's letting us know about it before we even have to click on the web to find out. So appreciate that, Miss Fins. Go ahead.
Thank you, Color. I appreciate it. Hi, gentlemen. How you doing? Hi, ladies and gentlemen in the comment section.
Miss Fins.
It has been a very interesting day, to say the least. But before I get into all of that, I do want to go back to your article, Color. I really love that quote that Kelly said. Touchdown, first down, get down. That, and then I'm glad that you said it again because it stuck with me, and then I got to hear it again. To me, that should be an poster in every gym locker, whether you're in Pee Wee or you are in the NFL, because that is the best way to protect your QB. And that's just my opinion, and I really love that quote, so I just wanted to point that out. The whole thing was great to hear from you, and you got that voice like, hello, ladies.
I appreciate that.
Color. You know what I mean? That soothing voice, so I appreciate that. But as far as the rest of the story, yes, Color's right. I did break it this morning on IG, Twitter, and on YouTube. So please go ahead and subscribe, like, get the notifications, because we're just growing the channel over there. But as far as Deshaun, I'm not gonna lie, I had to pull back when I broke that news because I really wanted to go in so hard and I couldn't, because I'm pretty sure by now you guys know I'm a Watsoneer. I've been a Watsoneer since actually, I'll tell you this. I didn't even know that the Dolphins were even interested until my brother and I were watching a game, and he told me, hey, Miss Fins, obviously by then I wasn't Miss Fins, but hey, we might get Watson. And I was like, stop it. And we were just like, oh my God, this is an actual possibility. Like, we got so excited. We were jumping, we were flipping my mother's couch. She was looking at us crazy. But we were just so excited because you never get, and I know TD said it earlier, you never get this type of environment of available high quality QBs all at once. This is like the perfect storm of QBs. And
Mhm.
now is the time to strike because at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with Tua, ladies and gentlemen. Please take him out of the equation. It could have been Rosen. It could have been. I'll tell you this. Barring Pat Mahomes, any other QB in this situation in this league, you're looking at Deshaun Watson, period. I don't care what anybody tells me. You're looking at Deshaun regardless. Why? Because he is top 5. He's a generational talent. There is nobody.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that as soon as the news broke, the news also broke that 50,000 other teams are already interested in him.
Seriously. And you know what?
Exactly. It's no coincidence.
I'm not even surprised that happened. I was actually expecting it. And one thing that I did notice, though, is how quiet it has been for the Dolphins because everybody is assuming, oh, the Dolphins are out of the equation. But at the end of the day, loose lips sinks shit. What does it say? Sink ships.
Yep.
That's the
Yeah,
saying?
you're right, Miss Finns, because now we get to sit back and watch everybody show their cards.
Exactly.
So we know how much we're gonna have to give up for him.
Exactly. You don't think conversations have been had?
And real quick, Miss Finn, sorry to interrupt again, but I wanted to point out an analogy of this for any of you guys or ladies or gentlemen have played poker before. And TD was bringing up the poker analogies last night, so I want to continue with that theme. When you get your cards dealt, okay, this is a tip, like a pro tip, we'll say, and also it's also a way you can identify for yourself who at the table is more experienced than others. Okay, when you get dealt your cards, the natural instinct for everybody when they get their cards is to look at them. Like, oh, I got my cards. Let's see what I got, right? But what you actually want to do is you want to let them sit there. They're not going to change. It's not like the dealer's going to pull them back and make them something different, give you a different set of cards. They're going to be whatever they're going to be. You need to be using that opportunity to watch everybody else's reaction to looking at their cards.
And the other
That's
thing,
what a pro does.
I mean, of course.
And it's a simple tip, but you would be amazed at how much information you end up garnering over a couple of hours of sitting there doing that at the poker table. And you start to win just from that alone, because not only are you seeing what they do when they look at their cards, but if you're in position and you're the last to act on that particular hand, you also get to see what bets they make all the way around first. You know how much it's going to cost you to see the next 3 cards. And that's what Miss Finns is pointing out right here.
Exactly. And another thing too, I'm sure a lot of people have made those numbers. Take a look. Oh, we only have this money left. We only have these many picks left, blah, 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 blah. But if you really take a look at it, at the end of the day, with the way that the cap is and the way that we can move money and restructure things, there is no issues for us bringing him in and his 40 million.
Fits in like a glove.
Let me put it to you this way. If we had $10 million, we would still bring Deshaun Watson because we'd find some way to move people's money elsewhere and then just go ahead and bring him in.
Just like if nobody else
any other NFL team.
Well, real quick, Crypto, to further that point, just like if nobody else were to take him, I guarantee you Doug Peterson over in Jacksonville would give everything they have to get him. And what money do they got?
Are you kidding me? They would trade Trevor. They would trade 2 first-round picks. They would trade their left tackle to go ahead and get Deshaun.
Trevor Lawrence would end up in Arizona if that happened.
Exactly.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Who likes to go through QBs like they're Wonder Bread, you know.
But at least they shoot their shot. So I give Arizona that.
And they're not, and they don't care what the media and greater society thinks about how they treat the quarterback as a professional player that they just gave $38 million to either. You know what I mean?
Well, at the end of the day, you're an employee, people. I think people forget because we love our players that it's a job. You literally get paid to do a job. Like if my job, they pay me what I want, and I'm acting a fool. Guess what? I can take my talent somewhere else, or they can take my talent somewhere else too. So
Exactly.
at the end of the day, it's a job, people.
It's a business decision. You got to make business decisions.
So we're going to be running pretty short here pretty soon. I know. Our time slot was roughly around a little past 9:30, so we're getting there. But I want to give Crypto a chance to have the floor and say his piece too, Miss Fins. Appreciate that from you. That you're spot on with everything you said, in my opinion.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Go ahead, Crypto. What's the latest from Ross? We know you got a direct line to him. So what can you tell us about the status of the door lately?
Yeah, he told me to tell everybody to calm down. Every door has hinges. Every door can be open as well as shut. And that's the status of all doors in America.
Right. And
regardless of who's in control.
What's the best way to make sure nobody goes past that door? You put a wall there, right?
You put a wall there, or you pad it up and lock it and throw away the key. He never used the key reference in relationship to that door. Or lock reference.
Exactly. And I think you're going to probably reiterate a lot of the logic that I put forward about, look, it's not about, and the whole door thing that I've been doing with the images. This is a joke about Greer, not Tua. I'm making fun of Greer when I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's a totally Greer. That's totally
and Crypto understands that. Crypto gets exactly what I'm trying to say. So I suspect,
lay off Greer, man.
I suspect that's going to be your take, Crypto. That being said, everybody.
I tell you this. This may be a little extreme, Cutler.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
If they don't use those hinges on that door, if Greer and Ross doesn't go in a war room within the next 48 hours and remove those hinges, I tell you what, this will be the football equivalent of pedophilia. I tell you that right now.
You're right about that, bro.
If he don't remove those hinges, this is the football equivalent of pedophilia.
Somebody censor this man.
Goodness gracious, Crypto on a ledge.
So that being said, Crypto, everybody, welcome the one, the only, Chris El Capitan.
What's up, guys? How's it going, y'all?
Fins Tailgate. Glad you stopped by, man. Appreciate you coming in.
What's up, Miss Fins? Crypto, Shake. What's happening, everybody?
Chris, you're good at playing the role. Tell me where I'm wrong, man.
Where you're wrong? Well, I can't.
Yeah, I didn't bring you up here to agree with me. Come on.
I've been preaching, man. I've been preaching for, I don't know, probably since I started getting on. If you guys, even before I even had a show, a little bit of screen time I did get, I talked about, hey, listen, the Dolphins they're in love with Deshaun Watson. And I never thought that it was Flores or Greer. I always thought it was Ross. And granted, another thing to consider, guys, is the situation that Ross finds himself in, where the NFL is bearing down. We just seen a player get suspended for an entire year. They threw the book at him, essentially saying that they'd rather you be a criminal and an adulterer, hit your wife, whatever, all those other things, rather than bet on football. They really came down on Calvin Ridley for the betting on football.
Right. It's crazy.
There's a chance that if Stephen Ross, who's a well-connected billionaire, he finds out that something's coming around the corner, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't go all in and get Deshaun Watson or do whatever he wanted on his way out. He's a guy that hires and fires. Everything he does is very emotional. We've seen it, how he will hire or fire someone. He's very sneaky, as we know. It's been this way since we got him in the building. So if you guys don't think that this isn't a long game with them, I just seen right before it was Thursday, they had Deshaun Watson odds, and the Dolphins are plus 1,200 tied for there's a three-way tie for last is the Dolphins. Now, a year ago, it would have been plus 100, maybe even money, even money on the Dolphins getting Deshaun Watson. They have done an amazing job optically saying that they are out of the business for Deshaun Watson. And I credit that to Chris Grier. If you guys would have heard me about 3 months ago, two months ago, I said it was right after the Titans loss, and I was actually on this show with TD, and me and TD and Doug and everybody. We broke down the film. It was horrid. It was terrible, and we were all pissed. We were all off Tua that evening, and all week after that, I was very critical of Tua. And then towards the end of that week, coming up before our next opponent, I was ready. And Crypto, you were even on the show. I was like, I'm ready to start building Tua up for the sell. So if Carolina Panthers fans are watching, Tua is a franchise quarterback. He is willing to play good football for Carolina. They should be buying him for the deal we're going to give him right now. And
he's worth 2 first-round picks.
He's worth
and don't
2
pay attention to the purple
picks.
coat. The man knows what he's talking about.
Yep. Don't let the purple coat and the good looks fool you. I'm pretty smart.
So Scott in chat said earlier, Capitan, Scott in chat said no purple coats tonight, man.
No purple coats. Oh, listen, I mean, whatever. I'm
Yeah,
wearing it.
yeah. What do you think about
rocks
that?
the purple coat.
I'm
But hey,
the only purple-coated Joker coat.
So what do you got? What do you got on tap for tonight, Chris? Go ahead and go ahead and spout it up, man. What do you got going on? You got anything special planned?
I've got a couple of clips. I've got exclusive footage of Chris Grier as a young man, which will give you guys. You'll see why he's so shrewd with the money and very, very tight with the wallet. I also have I forget. I had some other footage. I have a couple of clips. I got some footage about the news of the day. I wanted to touch on Nick Needham and how smart of a play that second round tender was, which I will discuss at one point in time. But
a question on that real quick, Chris. Do you think that's a possibility of an attempt to either shield him, but at the same time also gather up another second round pick for some capital?
I honestly,
if you know what I mean,
it's a brilliant move no matter how you slice it, because Nick Needham was projected to get about $5 or $6 million. Right now, I think the second round tender, it's only like 3.5. We're gonna have to pay him. So we're paying him less money. If someone wants to give him the 6 or more million, which he's worth, if you ask me, very versatile guy. We even seen him play at safety last year and did a good job filling in. It's just a brilliant play all the way around with Chris Grier, because if somebody is going to go after him, they will get a second rounder. I mean, if they're willing to give up a second round pick and they're that needy at cornerback, then yeah, why not let him go? Because although he's good and I'd rather him stay in the building, again, the tactics of Chris Grier is something I've watched very closely. It's one of the biggest reasons I have optimism with this team. Even with an owner that might get pushed out the building, I can't imagine where Chris Grier goes out with him. If anything, Chris Grier's probably got the most power any GM in the league's got right now, potentially even more if the owner gets kicked out the building. And to me, he's not gonna squander this opportunity. Very rare for a GM to have as much power that he has, and he's an African-American GM at that. He's gonna make sure his job is done right. He's got guys like Reggie McKenzie. There's other factors at play here, and Chris Grier wants to build a winner, and he's not stupid. He's not the kind of guy that's gonna. I didn't expect him to start slinging money all over the place in free agency right away. That's just not his style. He'll let people set the market on guys. If you look, Crosby just got an extension, $95 million, which I think is a pretty decent deal for the Raiders as far as what Crosby's market value on an open market would get him. So Chris Grier lets people set the market. He sees, he's just smarter with the money, guys. And a team where no one person, and they've preached this, especially Chris Grier, preached it a lot. There's no one person in the team. So it's always been just about him. So I'll be talking all
So we got a hard break coming up in 5, El Capitan. I'm not going to let you have a final thought because I know your night's not over.
There's no final thoughts.
Appreciate you stopping by, man. Everybody go over to subscribe to the Fins Tailgate. Come by around 10 o'clock. We're going to Chris is going to fire up the stream, and
I'll probably fire it up a little early too. Anyhow.
Okay.
So,
yep. And
right after this.
you always usually open a panel later on Or
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna. Okay, I'll probably be swinging over there to talk about what I think about what I found out about Dearness today too. So that's kind of some interesting stuff I uncovered with the negotiations with Dearness Johnson over in Cleveland. So look forward to talking about that too, man. Appreciate you coming by, bro.
No problem, man.
The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only El Capitan.
TD, shout out TD. TD, I'm gonna reach out to you here real soon. So be looking for a message from me coming at you, dog, because I'm gonna be reaching out to you here real soon. So anyhow, that's besides the fact, guys. Fins up. I'll see y'all later.
Right on.
See you later, man.
Righty,
hey, Culler, remember the discussion we had this morning, huh? It's interesting how it rolled in when we was on Geo.
Oh, absolutely.
Me, you, Geo, and Greenweb was just discussing on how you just can't get away with stuff in the court of law. You can't. You got to have your emotions out of it.
Exactly. That's
the
exactly
judges only
how
care
it played
about the
out.
law.
The grand jury did exactly what we thought they would do.
Yeah.
They ruled based exactly how we thought they would rule.
You got to come with evidence, man.
Yep. Do you want to make that your final thought, Crypto? We got 5 minutes left and 6 people to get a final thought in, man.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right, I'll catch you later. I'm sure you'll be over in our parts too, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I will.
All righty. So somebody raised their hand. Who wants to give a final thought next? We got 5 minutes left.
I'll go.
So y'all get like just under a minute each.
All right, real quick. Go ahead, Ms. Fins. I defer to you. Go ahead.
You're breaking a little bit, Miss Fins. We'll have to come back to you in a second. Go ahead, Kari.
Yeah, well, based on what Capitan just said, I've had mixed feelings about Greer. Greer only becomes what Capitan describes if he pulls this deal off.
What's the name?
Okay. And number two, final thought here is we've talked a lot about the potential of Watson going here, there, everywhere, but no one is really. I mean, does Watson still really even want to come here in light of the controversy, in light of the accusations that Flores has levied at the team and Ross? It's something that's still yet unanswered. I hope
that's
he's
a valid question.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that weighs in.
Yeah, we'll have to give that some thought later on too.
Anyway, peace, guys. See you later.
Appreciate you, Kari. Thanks for coming by. How about you, Shake? Looks like you're chomping at the bit to get something out real quick. We can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, my bad. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate all the content you have been. I listen to you every day in the morning, like I said. And the one thing I do want to say is, if we don't get Deshaun Watson, just please, for the love of God, don't let him be in an AFC East rival. That's all. Thank you.
Well, you know how I feel. It'll be a star on his helmet. Thanks a lot, Shake. Appreciate you. How about Lakers? You got anything final thoughts to say? You got about 45 seconds.
All right. So if we don't get Watson, man, I feel like he might be going to the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's not good, but that's what I see him going for me, because they got Mike Tomlin and they got Brian Flores. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, low key, he wanted to.
No, the Steelers reporter said they were out on him.
Oh, they said? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
he got ties to Rooney.
Okay. Well, you know what? Then that's the case. Then let's go get Watson then. And we can't make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? This is right here. I mean, like, we can't make a mistake on this. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a free man right now.
You're right. Get him in the building. That's what we. That's what we keep saying.
You know what I'm saying? And if we make a mistake and Tua doesn't turn out to be the quarterback that, you know what I'm saying, that like they want him to be, then that's on Ross and that's on Greer.
Right on.
And
right
then
on.
what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Thanks a lot, Lakers. Appreciate it, man. You have a wonderful evening.
You too.
How about you, Shedrick? You got a quick thought?
Yeah. I kind of also disagreed about the Greer situation. I just feel like they'll only make a move like that, like if they're really confident in what they have. And I felt like maybe they gave Brian Flores like, okay, this is your year to get right. And then this was the year where it was like, okay, show me what you got, because of the previous controversy on his first year. So I think now they're going to really give McDaniel a chance to kind of like give them like his full vision of what the team's success probably looks like. and based off of that, let's just see what happens.
Right on, right on. How about you, Jerry J? What do you got to say? Thanks a lot, Shedrick. Appreciate you coming on the panel tonight, man.
No problem.
And come on over at Finn's Tailgate anytime you want.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna make it quick. Like I've said, man, Deshaun would be very dynamic. I understand the methodical build and do all of that stuff, et cetera, but teams are taking their chances. The small teams in the AFC, they realize, hey, we're tired of being the quote unquote weak conference. We want Brady is gone. It's time for us to upgrade. Stephen Ross is in his 80s. Xavier is getting older. Let's do right by this team, by this fan base, and go get a franchise quarterback. And
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
Cannot build around Deshaun Watson after trading the assets that he will, then what are we paying him for?
Right on, right on.
What are we paying
You're
him
absolutely
for?
right, Jerry J.
Be the GM of a college team if you can't handle that building around a top 5 quarterback.
You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
We're coming up on a hard break. I appreciate you coming out tonight, Jerry J. You have a good night, man.
No problem, brother. Good night, y'all.
Yep. And Crypto, I'll go ahead and I think you got it out, man. But go ahead. If you got a quick one, make it like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's good. I agree everything Jerry J just said. We got to do it because you can't beat around the bush. You got to go make that move immediately.
Yep. With that being said, everybody like and share, subscribe to TD's channel, subscribe to the Color Commentary. You can find me easily on YouTube if you type that in. Follow me on Color Com at Twitter. What do you got to say, TD? Tell me where I'm wrong tonight, man. I need somebody to push back on me. You're muted still, buddy. Well, maybe he's not there. All right. Yep. Yep. So you want everybody, we got a great community going on here. We're just trying to build it. You got Miss Finns, you got Miami Sports Fanatic. Oh, somebody asked about Stephen D. From what I understood, he was out of the country on vacation. I don't know if that's changed at all. And also one other thing. Here, Crypto, what I've been monitoring the chat the past couple of days, and things are starting to look really familiar. I'm starting to think that Raw might be Big Drip.
You think so? Yeah.
I'm calling it out. I think it's Big Drip. That Tebow reference, that constant Tebow reference is what made me think of it. It's it's definitely him. Thanks a lot, TD. I think you're flashing me to let me know the hard break's coming, but you're muted right now, so we can't hear you. Appreciate you. Oh, there you are.
What's up, man? I'm about to in this stream, Color. I appreciate you, man. That was a great stream and good analysis.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you very much for hosting me, TD. I appreciate everything you do, buddy, man. You have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. I'm about to stream this Heat Cavaliers second half right now. So if y'all want to hang out over there on TD Sports Talk, that's where I'll be. We'll be on TD Sports Talk. See y'all soon.
Later, man. Have a good night, everybody.